Hello there. The luvvies are out and about again, jumping on the bandwagons to try and make themselves feel and look good and caring, all at the expense of reality. Croaky Jeff is back again. Now, if 17.4 million voters can't force a government to deliver a decisive Brexit, then what do a couple of thousand lovey actors think they'll achieve by writing a letter, other than to try and make themselves look and sound all empathetic, when in fact all they've done is come across as pathetically biased? Yes, actors and lovies like Tilda Swinton, Charles Dance, Steve Coogan and Miriam Margolyes have decided to pen a letter calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. And they've also accused the UK of not only tolerating war crimes, but aiding and abetting them. Continuing with, there will come a time when they are held to account for their complicity. I'm not sure they're following the same story as the rest of us have been. And the lovies start by saying, "We are witnessing a crime and a catastrophe. Israel has reduced much of Gaza to rubble and cut off the supply of water, power, food and medicine to 2.3 million Palestinians." Now, I had expected there to be a reference to the previous weekend's horrors in there, just for balance. But was there? No, they didn't even mention the word Hamas, nor reference the kibbutz, nor the kidnapped. Message to the Coogan letter clan: not a good look, you guys. The hypocrisy of showbiz and celebrity types laid bare for all to see. What is it about the left that it's almost a knee-jerk reaction to support anyone who attacks Israelis? I mean, they can't possibly be pro-Hamas or anti-Semites, can they? And the lovies are also demanding a ceasefire, as well as the opening of crossings to allow humanitarian aid to enter Gaza unhindered. Well, Hamas started this particular skirmish with some unholy criminal terrorist acts that cannot be described due to their harrowing nature. And Hamas fighters are the ones using their own people as a shield, while the jury is definitely still out on the origins of the missile that hit the hospital car park. Although from the little I've seen, I think Joe Biden was right when talking to the Israeli PM yesterday when he referred to the other team being at fault. And as for the crossings, the only country that borders the Gaza Strip other than Israel and the sea is Egypt. And Egypt is very, very unwilling to throw the doors of the Rafah crossing opening to the citizens of Gaza and allowing them through as refugees. And both the Egyptian and Jordanian governments have said there will be no refugees. But they say, if the West thinks so much about human rights, then we should take them. Will the lovies now be furiously scribbling a missive about the heartlessness of Egypt and Jordan? One doubts that very much. Go on, you lovies, go and talk to the Egyptian government and tell them they are complicit for not immediately opening the Rafah crossing to allow refugees out of Gaza. And overnight, Israel has said it will allow the Egyptians to send in limited humanitarian aid through the crossing. Although you have to wonder how much of that will end up in the hands of Hamas terrorists. Anyway, as far as I can see, these lovies, plus all those pro-Hamas types out there, all they want to see is Israel quietly lie down and allow itself to be kicked to death, while much of the Arab world looks on and celebrates. Please tell me I've got that one wrong. Especially as photos have been released of what Hamas terrorists did at a children's preschool nursery, a kindergarten. Do all these lovies not condemn that? I mean, directly condemn it, not just say all innocent lives must be protected, while then picking out Israel as their sole target. There's only one meaning I take from that letter, and it does not make those luvvies look good at all, to me at least. And this sentiment is now left to go almost unchecked in the UK and the wider Western world. Those who would do us harm have been used to the lefty-lovey-induced self-loathing we in the West seem to have adopted, and they exploit that for all it's worth. But at least there's a bit of a fight back. A far-left group of students at University College London distributed some posters with disturbing images on them around the campus, including the words, "The Fight for a Free Palestine." After what the Hamas terrorists did to these children, I take these posters to mean that group supports that act of inhuman violence, as well as further violence. But at least the UCL Students' Union has suspended that Marxist group. Let's hope it gets shut down as a result. While pro-Palestine, probably including pro-Hamas sentiment, protests have been taking place in the Netherlands, Colombia and Puerto Rico. And further afield, Israeli, UK and French embassies have been targeted in Iran, Jordan, Turkey, Tunisia and Lebanon. And protests have also been taking place in Libya, Morocco, Yemen and Iraq. All with much burning of the Israeli flag, as well as the stars and stripes, and chants of death to England and France. Are these 2,000 or so lefty-lovey actors and actresses going to write another letter condemning the actions of Hamas and of the protesters around the world that will inevitably cause all Israelis to fear for their very lives? Because that is where we are right now. A small, nuclear-armed nation and its people fearing for their very existence. A position which is not helped when people who play the roles of clever people start believing they have those same attributes and start dictating their views to the rest of us. And most forget they have been reading scripts that others wrote for them, although there are exceptions. But scripts are not real life. And this one-sided letter they've penned really does shine a light on an unpleasant area of the luvvies' world. And I do have to wonder if, in their own words, there will come a time when they are held to account for their complicity. Complicity in giving support to those that do the unspeakable, via a totally biased and nausea-inducing, thoughtless and lazily constructed letter. Far from allowing the Lovey Brigade to bask in an aurea of intelligentsia, they've shown themselves to be shallow, attention-seeking people out to try and look good. And no one's buying it. No wonder these people love the BBC so much. In fact, you do have to wonder if this letter was audition time or something.